Are you ready to get your lettuce started but struggle to get your seeds to germinate in the garden? You know, could it be your soil? Maybe the seeds are bad? Today I want to share with you a foolproof way to find out if the seeds are good and to get good germination and growth for your lettuce. So there's nothing more frustrating than planting your seeds and not having them come up. So let's get started with a foolproof method to start your lettuce seeds. So there are 4 steps: germination, transferring to soil using the secret seedling mix, then transplanting to a pot, and then hardening off and planting in the garden. So let's get started with a germination test that will tell us if our seeds are good. All right, we're going to go ahead and do a germination test with our seeds in toilet paper. So we're going to use the toilet paper so it can dissolve for us later in the process. Okay, so you want to get your lettuce seeds, a roll of toilet paper, and a plate. And what we're going to do is, I just have a little plate here. We're going to get just 2 squares of toilet paper, and you can use whatever kind of toilet paper you use at your house. You don't have to have anything special. Just go in the bathroom and steal the roll. Okay, so we got that down there, and then next we're going to add about 30 seeds. And this is a lettuce seed. This one's called Tropicana. It's one that we grow in our production houses. It's a really good lettuce. So let's see here. We can spread them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. There we go. The reason I'm using 30 seeds is because that is about a typical planting of lettuce plants that I would put out. So anywhere between 20 and 30. All right. So then next we want to moisten this. I'm just going to pour a little bit of water down on the plate. And that's just going to spread across the toilet paper there. So we got our seeds. And then we're going to put 2 squares of toilet paper on top of the seed. And those soaked up the water right away there. All right. So there is our lettuce. It's sandwiched in between the toilet paper. And what I want to do with this is put this in a warm place between 65 and 75 degrees out of the sun. And I want to make sure that this never dries out. So I'm going to moisten this paper every day. I can just take and just, pour just a little bit of water in there. You don't want it super saturated, but you want to keep it moist. So these seeds, they should germinate in 4 to 7 days. And if they've not come up in 10 days, then the seeds are probably bad and you're going to need to buy some new seeds. And the ones that do come up, we're going to transplant them into some pots, and we're going to do that in step number 2. All right, so step number 2 that we're going to do in a week is transferring these onto soil. So one of the things that kills the lettuce is heavy, wet soil. So our goal is to get the baby lettuce into some very well-drained seedling mix so it has a good chance of growing, because that's one of the big mistakes that people make with their seeds. So our family has passed down a secret seedling soil recipe for generations. Now the seedling mix, it's grown millions of lettuce seeds for my family for decades. So this is the recipe. We want to get some ingredients this week and make this up. So here is the simple but effective family secret seedling soil recipe. All right, it's 3 parts of peat moss. We only use peat moss, but you can experiment with coconut coir if you prefer that. The next ingredient is perlite, and so we use 3 parts peat moss, 1 part perlite, and then 1 part playground or washed sand. So any kind of like playground sand, you get it in a bag, and then we're going to use water. So if you're going to make a small batch, I would use 3 gallons of peat moss. So you're going to measure with a gallon jug or a gallon can. 1 gallon of perlite, 1 gallon of sand, and about ½ a gallon of water, and you're just going to stir that all together. And you want to have this ready for next week so that when the seeds are germinated, we have some really good seedling mix to transfer them onto. Hello everybody, I'm back. It has been 6 days since we started the lettuce seed, and they are ready to move on to the next stage. So we're going to go ahead and do that today. So once you have a batch of soil made, you want to put it in a pot that's about 2 inches deep. I like these little planting trays. We use them in the greenhouses. But if all you have is like a margarine tub or something like that, make sure you poke some holes in the bottom, and then you can grow your seed in this. All right, so once you have your pot, you want to get some water on it and get this soil soaked up. We're just going to pour a little water in here. Okay, tamp that down a little. Okay, so that's ready to go. Now, here is our seeds, and this is what they've done. This was in the house for the last 6 days, and the house was running between 60 and 75 degrees, depending on if it was day or night. So all we're going to do is just take this up, and now if you got a smaller thing and you need to cut it, you can just cut that with the scissors, but we're just going to lay this right down like this, right on the soil. And because this is toilet paper, it'll dissolve, we can just sprinkle the smallest amount of soil right there on top of that toilet paper. We don't even have to transplant the seeds. And that's all you need to do to move that to the next stage. And then pouring the water is a little harsh on it, so we're just going to moisten this soil with the squirt bottle. You're a squeaky squirt bottle. Squeak, 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 squeak. Sounds like a duck, huh? It's a duck call. All right, enough of that duck. All right, so we have wet soil, we have the toilet paper, we have the seeds, and then we are going to grow this on until we get the first true leaves coming out of the lettuce plants. Now, it's really important that we grow this in the light, so we need to have like 8 to 10 hours of light. Now you can use a window, a south window, and if you put something white behind it, it'll help reflect the light back in that. Or you can put a grow light. Most grow lights will go about a foot above the plants, and you want that grow light on for 8 to 10 hours a day. Each grow light has a little different instruction to it, so go ahead and read the instructions for seedlings for your grow light, and then you can get this up and going. So this is all we need to do with this. I'm going to put this in a place where it's going to get some light, and when it is ready to transplant, I'm going to go ahead and bring it back in here, and we'll go on to step 3, which is transplanting the seedlings. All right, we'll see you in about a week or so. All right, so it's been 2 weeks since we've seen these little seedlings. They were, remember, on their toilet paper, and then we just transfer the toilet paper to the little dish here. And now they have their first true leaves. So we want to transplant them out of there. And what I'm going to put them in today is these 4-pack cells. So these are just ones that, you know, you can save from the nursery or whatever. Now, once they have their first true leaves, it's time to start feeding them. So what I do is I take my seedling mix, and I use 6 cups of seedling mix to 1 cup of compost or worm castings. You just stir that in together, and then that's what goes into these cells. So this already has some compost in it, so we can start to feed. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. So we got our lettuce in here. We don't want to pull them straight up. We want to lift from the bottom. So we're just going to come and pop that up from the bottom, and then we can separate these. You can still see just the tiniest bit of toilet paper, and that's fine. You can transplant that as well. And just put a finger hole in there and put that in. I'll move that out of the way. Okay, so we want to separate these, and we want to keep as much root on them as possible, so we're just going to gently wiggle them apart. Okay, put a finger hole in, you just push that in, squeeze it shut, and you can bury the plant up right up to where the crown is, so all of this stem can go into the soil, and that keeps them from being too tall and floppy. So we're just going to put that in, bury that up, and we'll go ahead and make, I typically will do about 30 plants at a time. Today I'll just transplant 8 for you so you can see it, but 30 is a nice batch to make enough lettuce for everybody to have some, but not so much that you don't know what to do with it all. So just growing 30 plants at a time is good. Okay, so we got those in like that. Okay, then you want to water them immediately, and I'm also going to water the ones that I disturbed over here. And the reason you want to do that is you got air bubbles now that are against the roots, and that will kill the roots. So I call this burping the baby. So we want to get the air bubbles out. So you want to get them pretty wet, and then we're going to water that as well. Yeah, they look a little rough right now, but give them another day and they'll straighten right up. And these were growing in under my light table with 12 hours of light and 12 hours of dark, and I think I'll go ahead and put them back in there. So what we want to do is we want to grow these on for 2 more weeks in these pots, and then they will be big enough to go out into the garden. So number 4 is transplanting out into the garden. And you first want to harden them off before you plant them out in the garden. And to do this, you want to expose the plant to a few hours of direct sunlight and light breezes for a couple of days, and then increase the sunlight and the wind exposure for a few more days, and then they're ready to plant in the garden. And you want to be sure to keep them moist while you harden them off. And if it's predicted to frost, go ahead and put a frost blanket over the plants. So if you struggle to get your lettuce started, this is one of the best ways to get lettuce to grow. And if you need some fresh lettuce seeds at a significant discount, you can check out our Living Farm seed kits. You can find the link in the description below this video. And if you'd like to learn more about seed success, you can check out our seed success playlist right here.